I'm going to get fired as an agency. I'm going to go, okay. I just wanted to say one more thing in all the research we did. It was very interesting because when I talked to people, they all started their conversations very differently, but they all ended it the same way. They'd say, Michelle is a great partner and a great friend. They'd say, she's a really good client and a great friend. They'd say, she's a great boss and a great friend of mine. They'd say, she's such a great leader and such a good friend of mine. So the reality is, we can talk about 20 years at Signature, but to me the reality is here, we're not celebrating 20 years of you at Signature, we're celebrating 20 years of you as a great friend.
On behalf of an extremely dedicated and appreciative staff, on behalf of an owners group that thinks the world of you, we'd like to give you this momentum with the world, because you're on top of the world all the time. Congratulations.
First of all, Al Mershon came, when he was saying in his presentation today, okay, please all sit down because I'm going to pass out. That his most important mission is to keep his current customers close. When he stood up here and I thought, brother, you are on thin ice. So depending upon how this presentation goes, it's an agency review on Monday or not. I'm sorry? And he did a great job, they both did, and I'm not going to allow myself to get emotional because I'm not. And I also have a rule that I never take a microphone if I've had a glass of wine, and I've had two. I knew that they were going to do something, but I have to tell you, the cone of silence descended, and no one, not even Stephanie, who tells me everything, she kept saying, don't worry about it, in her New York, don't worry about it. So I just have to say a couple of things. And when Arnie was talking about the why, I want you to know why. And I started my career in 1978 with Peter Ugeroth, who was also a great entrepreneur, owned Ask Mr. Foster Travel Service. And it was a very small company. We didn't have a lot of resources, but we had a lot of heart and a lot of great people with a lot of great energy. And he subsequently sold the company to Carlson Companies as he moved on to run the Olympics. And at that time, we had about 100 stores and 100 branch office managers. And I was in the marketing department, create these beautiful brochures. We would come up with these exciting leisure marketing promotions, whatever. You know, they got their paychecks every 2 weeks, whether their store made money or not. That's just the way it was. And then in 1984, we launched a franchise program. And that rocked my world. It changed my world. Because I met people like Gary and Maxine from Man Travel, Kathy and Leo Falkensheimer in Las Vegas, Peter Evans from Tucson, the wonderful ladies at Camarillo Travel. And all of a sudden, I realized these small business owners who decided to hammer up the shingle of their name over the doors of their businesses were looking to plug into an entity that could give them resources and do for them what they could not do for themselves. So there I was at Carlson for 16 years, and the franchise program was a profit center. Everything we did had to make money. The agencies had to pay 3% of gross commission income, blah, 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 blah. I won't bore you. So when they decided to move to Minneapolis and they wanted me to move, I just remember thinking, oh my God, I would have to go back there every month, and my earrings would freeze to my face. I don't care what my career was going to do. I could not move to, and I'm sorry if there's someone here from Minneapolis. That 3 So I just had a passion for these independently owned businesses, and when they wanted me to move to Minneapolis, I had a couple of job prospects, and one of them was to work for this little company, Leisure Tours. And I really didn't know that much I didn't know anything about running a business. I worked for a big company. I had a multi-million-dollar advertising budget, but the P&L was a piece of paper. I never took money in. I never had to write a check. And a very good friend of mine who runs businesses looked at, you know what he said? He said, you know what, Michelle? You have an amazing opportunity to take everything you've learned at Carlson and see what you could do. It's running your own company without having that financial risk. So what do you have to lose? And then I was in an environment where everything we did as a member-owned organization was about the member. It was taking the resources of our little company and making it work for the individual members. So every day I get up, if I'm smart enough, if I'm good enough, we could bring value to these individual agencies. And it was really a small family. And I have to be honest with you, we really didn't want to grow outside of California. I could do regional council meetings in a week. San Diego, Orange County, LA, San Jose, and San Francisco. And I was finished. In any event, the why is an admiration for what you do. For those of you in this room who have to write those paychecks every 2 weeks. I've never been in that position. I've always been a salaried employee. I have the greatest admiration and respect for you as individual business owners that have to slay the dragons every day, empty the waste paper baskets, worry about Molly who's having a baby, whether she's married or not. You know all the issues. And the greatest joy of my life is working with the people that I work with every day, who've become friends and my extended family. And when I had a medical blip on the screen, it was the Signature family and a lot of the people in this audience who helped me make it through it. And I have to say, Tim has been an anchor and an ally, and I just want to thank you all for being here this week for this meeting and for standing up and applauding, and do not do it again. Just saying, if you care about me at all, do not do it again. Thank you very much for this evening. Thank you, Al. Thank you.